There we go.
Oh, oh my goodness.
All right. So for tonight's class, what we're going to do is kind of like we're kind of going ahead with our miscellaneous kind of cluster right now. And so we have a few different topics, and then we'll kind of jump. The first one we have is going to be our sports signs. Um, and then on related with like athletes. Oh my gosh. I want to say athletic players, but also I'm like, that's athletes. I don't know why I felt the need to add this very exaggerated word. Um, and really just kind of go deep in our sports and different signs for that. And it's also kind of similar because we were talking about people last week, which is why we're continuing with our athletes. Okay. Once we finish our sports, we'll then move on to, excuse me, our weather signs, which honestly I do think can be really fun. They're very different and they're very good for like emergencies. And then, let's see, where's the other one I was gonna do? There's another hodgepodge. I think it was gonna be like some objects, or I could be
I
wrong.
think that with our weather, we had some emergency signs and some signs that were like, do you need help type things. If you start with the sports, I will look back at my notes and let you know what I find.
Sounds good. Because I was gonna say we can always expand on emergency and weather and even like some medical, like basic medical signs. I think that's just always kind of important to tie together.
I
So.
think that's what we had talked about doing because I'm not sure we haven't gotten to animals or food yet. So we haven't done allergies, but but that is something that we covered. And like when we talked about therapists and stuff, we had talked about doing some more in depth.
Yeah.
Um so let me look at my notes and I'll come back to you.
That works for me. Yeah, typically we have the pattern goes like usually after people, it goes like straight to food or animals, and then vice versa the next week. So putting this week in here, it's like, wait, where are we in our line of classes again? We do this every time. We always it's a very flexible class, so we're always moving things around. But okay, so for sports, the first sign I want to give you is the sign for sports itself. And so the sign for sports is you're gonna have two thumbs up. You're gonna put them together. It's almost, well, y'all don't know this. This is the sign for with, like I'm with someone, like with. Okay. But so it's gonna look similar to this. But what you're gonna do with sports is you're gonna go back and forth. Sports, sports, sports. Okay. Mm-hmm. So sports. Then the next one we're gonna do is we're gonna do the sign for athlete. This is also the sign for athletics. Context clues kind of help you identify the difference. And so what you do is you have an A and you just shake it. Athlete, athletic, athlete. Very simple. Sometimes I've not really seen anybody add athlete, athletic, and then person. Typically it's like, oh, that girl, she athlete or athletic. Again, the information itself, the content of what it means, the meaning behind it is still going to be the same, even though we may use terms like she is athletic versus she is an athlete. The content's still the same. It's where that English comes in and kind of messes with us because we add different words to mean the same thing a lot of the times, and it's like, wait a minute, what's the meaning? What is the meaning behind this? So that's why it like threw me off. I was like, wait a minute, athlete, athletic. I was like, no, they mean the same thing. So, okay. Our next one, so the first sport we're going to do is the sign for football because we are in the South. Football's everywhere. And so the sign for football is you're going to have two fives. And what you're going to do is you're going to have your fingers like cross each other. Football, football. And you do bounce it. And the visual for this is like the players and when they run at each other, they rush at each other. The collision. So football, football. I just remembered, I'm sorry, I have to tell you a really cool story. And it's true. It's historical, okay? I have to drop it in. I know we just started, but it's related with football. That's why. So, you know how whenever you see a football game and you see the football players will all get in a huddle together? Do you know where that came from? So, fun fact. Um, deaf schools have a football team. They have a high school football team. And long time ago, there was a scout. for a school. I can't remember which school it was, but he came to observe at a deaf schools team, football team, to see what's up, what's it look like, things like that. And he came and he observed, and this was before, no huddling, none of that. But had noticed that the deaf teams, what they did is they stood in a circle and they grouped up like that. The reason why they do that is so when their coach is explaining things to them, if they sit in a line, the kids at the end can't see the coach right here. So being in a circle is deaf friendly where everyone can see and all can see the conversation and the discussion about the plays, things like that. And so this coach, this scout saw that and realized what they were doing. He's like, that's actually smart because that way the reason they huddle is so the other team cannot see what they're signing. Because the other team could very easily just watch, oh, he signed this, signed that. Okay, they're playing this. So they did it to like cover it so you couldn't see what they were saying. So this scout saw that and thought it was a cool idea. So he then brought it to his college, school, whichever, and started doing that where they would huddle. And that actually is what caused football teams to actually start doing the huddle. It came from a deaf school. And I promise you, like, that is accurate. Like, I'm not just like making up a story to just like humor y'all. Like, no, 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 no. Like, it's real. It's a real, like, historical thing, which I think is just awesome that we don't even realize that there's something we do that comes from a deaf school, a deaf thing. So, yeah, that's always just my fun little story to add with football. Okay. So now we finished our football. The next one is going to be basketball. There are two ways you can sign basketball. I see both quite often with them. Oh, okay. So the first sign for basketball is you're going to have two threes and you go basketball. Like I slightly bend them and I go basketball, basketball, basketball. So it's like I'm like shooting a hoop. Like I'm shooting the basketball, 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 basketball. The other one is basketball, 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 basketball. Now, I'm not a basketball person, and I always want to call that a layup, and I know it's not. But I would say obviously it's the motion of like making the hoop. I always think about my high school students that I've seen that always are like they shoot just like this and they got the skill. So they like to do basketball for that reason. Basketball. Okay. The next one we have is soccer. And so for soccer, you're going to have two Bs. Your non-dominant is going to kind of stay upright. Your dominant is going to come down and hit your non-dominant. And so the way I'm doing it is like, if this is my non-dominant sideways, my dominant is going to be like hitting it, kicking it. Soccer. Obviously, your elbows are much more relaxed. You don't have to go up here like that. It's just I tend to over dramatize. So soccer. Soccer. Okay. Then we have gotta zoom in on my little list here. There we go. The next one we have is baseball. And so for baseball, baseball is just baseball. Baseball. So it's like you're holding a baseball bat and you're swinging. Baseball. 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 Okay. Let's go back through those that we just did, and then we'll move on to some more. So we had our sign for sports. 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 We had football. Oh, thank you. Athlete slash athletic. Athlete, athletic. Then we had football. Football. Then we had our basketball. Basketball. Basketball or basketball. I love how everybody was like, I want this one. I want this one. I saw everyone was immediately basketball. And that is fair. And I've seen this. I think I like this one because it looks different. And I was like, oh, that one looks cool, basketball. But this one I've seen a lot too. Then we had our soccer, 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 soccer. And then, excuse me, then we had our baseball, 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 baseball. Okay. So now, let's see. I'm gonna actually pause on our specific sports and come into how you can describe some like team, player, those sort of things. So the sign for team, we did do, it wasn't a more direct teaching, it was more like it kind of showed you when we were talking about the sign for family and group. So team can be two ways. One is more English a bit, one is more ASL. So the more ASL is team, 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 team. Okay. The other one that's more English is going to be with two T's, team, 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 team. Now, I do tend to see this one more often. I prefer this one more often, mainly because this can be a little too vague. Say my class, my club, my team. So I do like the T's here. And I do see that kind of a little bit more often now too. Okay. Then the sign for player. So the sign for player is going to add the sign for play and then person. All right. So the sign for play is you're going to have two Y's and you go play. You just shake them back and forth. Play. Play. So player will be play person. Play person. Okay. Play person. So for baseball, I saw your thing, your next list of I am lost, are you lost? And I genuinely thought that was someone mentioning I'm lost. And I was like, we're lost on play? Sorry, that was me getting just a little bit distracted. So when you're talking about a sports being like a football player, a basketball player, you would just add it on together. So football player, basketball player, hmm soccer player. So you just kind of, it would just add on to it. Okay. The next one is game. So game is going to be game. Two thumbs up, and you have your fingers hit game, game. And you can one time or two times, that smaller motion is what makes it game. Okay. Now, if you wanted to say challenging, where it's a challenge, then that's when you'd have them out here and you'd go challenge, challenge, challenge. And so with this, it's almost like you butted heads. Like it's not an easy overpower win. Okay. Sorry. My dog is playing with a ball, but I could hear his little nails pitter-patting, and I was like, what are we doing? Had to double check. Okay. The next one we have is going to be tournament. Okay. So for tournament, you're going to have that same sort of threes again. You're going to put them in front of each other, and then you go up and down. Tournament, 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 tournament. I've seen some people with the T's doing tournament, but that one looks similar to track. So I always do tournament. Yes, there is. Yes. Which is always fun to watch the kids when they've played a game or they've had a really easy game because there's the sign for easy, and then there's a way you can sign it where it almost looks a bit like, oh my gosh, that was too easy. That was like just nothing. Okay. So the sign for easy is your non-dominant is kind of palmed like this. Your dominant is going to tap your hand like this. So you're just kind of flicking it up.
We've
Easy.
never done easy
We
before.
haven't, which is why I realized when I was
That's a good
describing
one.
it, how do I describe this right now? Easy. What the kids like to do when they have an easy game is they go easy. They just smack it once. Like that was just nothing. Easy. They'll always go game easy. That sort of thing. A challenging game. I like this. So if you were to say the game was challenging or a challenging game, I would go game. I'll be like so I would start with saying it's a game, and then I would, woo, they were button heads. Ow, I like busted my knuckles. They hit each other. Be careful not to hurt yourself when you do challenge, because that I just did. Typically, it's not. The games are not always that challenging for my kids. Okay, my U12 kids. All right, they're really good soccer players. I'm not bragging, but I am. They like won their whole like season this past fall. I go to their sports games. I'm very competitive myself. I played soccer for too many years, so like I go and I'm like the one that's literally like screaming at them nicely, but also like being that parent basically through sign language. So I'm saying they're like run, go, 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 like all I've run down the sidelines before. They love it though. They truly do because they always come up to me and be like, did you see that play I did?" I'm like, "Yes, you did amazing. Keep going. Don't stop. The ball is still in play. Do not come talk to me right now." So, But yeah. So challenging game, you wouldn't want to go challenging game. You'd more so want to go game challenge. You want to reverse it. That would make it make more sense and them know that you're talking about a game was challenging. Okay. All right. So then the sign for win. Excuse me. I have like a hiccup coming. There we go. So the sign for win is also the same sign for celebrate. Well, two. There's like three ways you can say winning in the sense of a sports game. Okay. The first one is celebrate, which is two X's, and you celebrate, you win, that sort of thing. Win. And it's like I'm going in circular motions. I think about when you have, those at football games, they have their like, it's not pom poms, but it's like pom poms. And you're like swinging them in a circle like this. Woo! That motion. Win. Okay. Win. The other way you can do win is win. Win. So it's like two fists and I hit my dominant on top of my non-dominant. Win. We got the game. We won it. I think of this one as more of like we snatched it up. We got the trophy, even if it's not a trophy, obviously, for that game. And just we won. Woo, we got that one. We got it. I hope whatever almost fell, you caught it. I saw your eyes go, whoop. But and then the other way is when you say like you're beating, like we beat them, and it's you have your non-dominant a fist and you have your dominant go, you beat. Hmm. It's two fists, and then you just bring it over. We beat them. You beat them. A lot of the kids like this one. It also can be kind of like overpower. So I've seen this one a lot more. The kids like to say, "Oh yeah, we beat them, we overpowered them, we got it." Okay, so of the three, I do see the first one, this one, and this one more often. Okay. So the sign for lose, there are two ways. One of them I do see more often, but you got to be very careful. It's a nice word. Okay. So the first one I'm going to show you is the more, not safer one, but one that I say I kind of always encourage to do, especially when you're learning ASL and you're not fully deep into assigning. And so it's your non-dominant is up. Your dominant is kind of in that K shape, or it can even be in an F, either way, that one I have seen. And you just slide it across. Lose, lose, lose. Sometimes I do see the F for like fail, like you failed, and you just fail, fail, fail. You failed, you lost, failed. Okay. I would recommend this one just in the beginning. The other one is your non-dominant palm up. Your dominant is in this two, and you we lost. You put it on top. Lost. Lost. Hmm. Now I'm going to tell you what the other word is just because I feel you definitely need to be aware of it. The other word is the F word. um, talking about the action. All right. So, yeah. And so that's why I'm just giving you that warning, that that one can be very easy to get confused. And if you sign that to a deaf person and they reacted a bit odd, that's why. Most of the time, I feel like they should be able, I feel like most people would catch on, okay, you're talking about a game, you're talking about, yeah, we lost, we lost. They would get it, but just in case, just right to the wise. Okay, so that's why I typically go with this one and this one. Just I feel like it's a little bit safer, but I do see this one quite often. So that is for your information. All right.
Knowledge is power. Thank you.
Yes, and I always rather tell you guys and give you that so you keep it in the back of your mind rather than not telling you. And then if you signed it and got a weird reaction and you didn't know why. Okay. So we did do a lot of signs just now. Let's go back over those. And those are not all in my list in the exact order. So I may be off on my list. And if I am, just someone sign them or just, shoot me a little message and I'll go back to that one. Okay. So we had the first one we did was the sign for game itself, which was game. game. And then we had challenge, challenge, challenge. Okay. Then we had easy, easy, or easy, easy. It's very fun. It's very fun to add a little bit of that character in it. And then, oh, thank you, tournament, tournament, tournament. And team, yes, thank you. I knew this happens when I veer off my list. So we have tournament, and then we had team, team, team. Okay. And then we had what else? Team tournament, easy, challenge. So then I started talking about my knuckles because I hurt my hand doing that. Challenge, easy, win, win. That's right. We had the win with the X's, win. Win with the fist, win, win. And then win or beat, win. And then we had lose, 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 or lose. Okay? Okay. All right. Now, are there any specific sports you're curious about signs? The reason I keep it vague is I just kind of give the ones we see often, or at least I see, and then I leave it up for you guys of any sports specifically that you would like to see. Baseball? Like inning, things related to baseball in the game, like no, no. Gosh, you guys give such specific ones. For Taekwondo and martial arts, unfortunately, I have seen them just fingerspell. Taekwondo. Again, even if you fingerspelled it wrong, what have I seen karate? I know Taekwondo is different from karate and there's mixed martial arts. Trust me, I have a friend who's very into it all. And I accidentally made the mistake one time saying karate, and he was like, no, what are you talking about? I was like, my bad. Um, I have not seen a sign for karate. I mean, if all of us we did do this, they would totally know it. But with Taekwondo, I would probably fingerspell it, because I have not seen a sign. It's just not something often that I've seen either. Okay, good. So the next one is swimming slash swimming pool. And so there is a sign for swimming. Um, and what you would do is I'm going to show you the sign for swim first, and then I would show you how you would say you're on like a swim team. Okay. So the sign for swimming is swimming, 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 swimming. So swim, swimming. It's just like, think about like you're literally moving the motion of the water, but it's just simpler. Swimming. If you were to say you were on a swim team, you could just say swim team. You could swim team. But you also could do sports swim. Sports swim. That's almost like saying competitive swimming, competitive swim, that sort of thing. Okay. And then the sign for pool, you literally just fingerspell it. P-O-O-L. Pool. Pool. And then can you swim? All right. So for this, the way you would do the question is swim, you can. Okay. That's how you would ask it. So you would go swim, you can. Oh, we have not done can. I'm so sorry. Can is two S's and you literally just bring them down. Can. Can. Okay. So swim, you can. Swim, you can. You could also just leave it up to swim like you. Do you swim? If you're asking if someone actually can swim, like, are you able to swim versus like, do you enjoy swimming is where that clarification of that can will come in. That one needs to add, we actually need to add can to our questions. And I always forget that. I think about that every time. And then I never think about it when we're doing our question words. But so yeah, can is just literally with your eyebrows up going can. Can. So if you remember, because eyebrows up mean yes or no. And since you're asking a can question, like, can you do this? It's a yes or no response. Okay. All right. Volleyball. All right. I cannot believe I forgot this one on my list because this one we do have at our school. So volleyball is going to be 2 8s. And what you're going to do is you're going to flick it up, volleyball. volleyball, volleyball, volleyball. So it's like you're literally, I think about like, I know with volleyball, you're not using your little fingers, but it's almost like the motion of like you're bouncing it up. Volleyball, volleyball.
Okay, fun fact. It's been a couple of years. I want to say it was like 2024. One of the really big, like, all of my daughters play volleyball and like super competitively. So we watch the collegiate volleyball stuff all the time. One of the really big schools, I want to say like Nebraska or Michigan or I forget, had a deaf volleyball player and she competed and they had a deaf game for her. So everybody in the audience was quiet. Nobody made any sounds and all they did was sign. I just thought it was the coolest thing. If I can find that, I'll share that with you.
It was really cool because she was telling me about it. And I was like, oh, I love that. And like,
Like they asked everybody in the audience to just be quiet, like don't cheer, so that everybody could experience what she experienced. I just thought it was the coolest thing.
it's very sweet. I always love when I hear stories like that. It is very sweet. And
You know how hard it is to get like five people to do something, let alone
oh yeah. Imagine
say
a whole
employ.
group. Oh. You did also remind me, I was going to explain how cheering works, like celebrating it with like for teams or anything like that. Yes, exactly. So it's the fives and you just shake your hands. This is like your motion of like you're celebrating the clapping. This is clapping in ASL. Mm-hmm. Um, and so that one's always a fun one. Like you could just cheer. And I have to add, I'm sorry, I do have to add a little story here for that because it is kind of funny. My siblings, my sister graduated 2 years ago from college, and when we were at her college graduation, they did have an interpreter there. And she graduated from Auburn, so it was a huge graduation group. But so obviously I immediately honed in on the interpreter. I can't help it, it's what I do. And I'm watching as they're like welcoming us in, blah, 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 doing the whole spiel. And they're like, please welcome, da, 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 da. Like, please give a round of applause for our graduates or whatnot. My first instinct, and I did it, my first instinct, and I followed through with it, was this. I put my hands up, big up like this, and I went, woo! My brother, who was sitting next to me, literally leaned over and goes, what are you doing? He had no idea what I was doing. I'm just moving my hands up and down. And I immediately remember, because I mean they were up high. Like I go big and high with them. I'm not the tiny little clapper. I'm like the big clapper, the obnoxious one. So my hands in the air like that, oh, embarrassed the daylights out of my brother. And so I looked at him, I said, what? Woo! I mean, I literally did not even realize I did it because that's what I do at school. We're always cheering this way. So it's such a habit that whenever I hear like, let's give a round of applause,
Deserve that, Gillian. Come
yeah, it was really funny because he was so puzzled and I was just like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care because I'm cheering and my sister knows it. So I do think that it's just, I think about that story every time because it really embarrassed him and I did not care. But okay. I was gonna say, let's go back because I did get distracted on that. Dance. All right, so for dance, I'm gonna give you the sign for being like an actual dancer, and then there is a sign for ballet. Okay, so I'm gonna show you both of those. So the first sign is just the sign for dance itself, which is your non-dominant palm up. Your dominant is gonna be in this V, upside down V basically, and you just dance, you swing it back and forth, dance, dance. And the visual for this is the two legs and you're moving back and forth. So dance. All right. If you are a dancer, you would just do dancer. Dancer. Okay. Dancer. Now there is a sign for ballet, and the sign for ballet is, let me see if I can back up real quick. Oh, I always do that. I hate that sound. My chair squeaks when I back up. You're going to have your dominant up here and your non-dominant down here at your hip. Ballet. Ballet. And it's like you think about when they do like that kind of motion. I love how I literally move my legs. Like you can see me literally posing in my chair. But it's the motion of, when they're doing their whole little arm up here, arm down here, or arm up here sort of thing. Ballet. Ballet. Let's see. Then Skating. Okay. So for ice skating, typically I've seen two ways. One is just you would finger spell ice and then the sign for skate. Um, that one I do actually, I think I see that one more often than I see this other one, so we won't worry about that because that's just literally taking the sign free skating. So the sign for skating is going to be two V's. You're going to bend them into X's, turn them up, and then you're going to go skating back and forth, back and forth. And it's like the wheels. So this is just general skating itself.
Do you mean the blades? Oh
Yes.
wait, we were talking about you roller skating too, though. Is the
Yes.
same?
Yes. So the
Okay.
sign is original. It's basically saying ice and then roller skating. So it's skating. This is just skating and as itself, skating. And then for ice skating, you would just go ice skating. Okay. The more specific you get on certain athletic types like figure skating and things like that, you do kind of finger spell figure skating. You would just add that spelling of the specific and then go on to it. So, more specific you get, the more you may have to finger spell. Okay? Olympics does have its own sign. All right? And the sign for Olympics is we're going to be making this 8 shape, okay? You're going to start with them connected and then you turn and connect them again. Turn, connect. Olympics, Olympics, Olympics. Okay. And I feel like the visual is very obvious on here. It's the rings all connecting to each other. So Olympics. hmm Olympics. Okay. For tryouts, I like that. We've not done that one before. So tryouts is going to add the sign for try. All right. So for the sign for try, my bad. Um, there are two ways you can do it. Again, it's that English versus ASL. So I'm going to start with the English one first because I do see that one a little bit more often than the ASL one. But again, like I've said many times, they're both right. So the sign for try is you're going to start with two T's. You're going to have them kind of facing you, and you go try, 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 try. So tryouts with this would just be try outs. So you would finger spell outs. So try outs or try out. You don't have to add that S. You can just go out. O-U-T. It's very fast. Try out. Okay. The other sign for try is two A's. Same movement, same thing. You just start with A's. Try, try out, try out. Okay. All right. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss any others. Oh, champ. I'm gonna give you the sign for champ and champion. And I'll explain why there's also a big one. So the sign for champ slash champion is you're gonna have your non-dominant and a pointer finger. Your dominant's gonna be in this 3 again. We're gonna bend it once more. And then you're gonna literally bring it on top. Champ. 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 Champion. Yes. So this sign, you actually do see a lot more common in ASL is, oh, champ. So that's the phrase of big saying, oh, this person's great. She's wonderful, amazing. We don't typically say, oh, she's champ, or that's champ. We more so like, oh, she's great. Like sometimes we're like, we have different like phrases, things like that. In ASL, it is a bit more champ, champ, champ. That is our more common phrase of saying how great someone is or how great that place is, things like that. Obviously, also being champions, we're the champions, we won. And that one is used quite often to discuss how awesome something is or someone is. So, fun fact. All right. Are there any more, excuse me, sports that anything you guys can think of before we move on to our weather signs? I see someone typing, so I'm gonna wait. Okay, good. All right. So gymnastics. I see a lot more descriptions of it. The reason I thought about it is because there is a sign for gym, like going to the gym. And the sign for gym itself, it's two G's, and you bring them up your shoulders, gym. 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 Hmm. I do see we do sometimes do it with just the one hand where it's gym. Excuse me, but it's gym. Gym. You would not add gym to gymnastics here though, because it is different. Most of the time I do think see gymnastics finger spelled. And then most of the time, because we can't help ourselves. We always kind of like show off what we're doing. It's the same thing for yoga. Yoga is finger spelled. It's just Yoga. But then we still always are like, like downward dog. It's always the posing. I don't know what it is. I feel like we just love to have our personality show it. Or maybe it's just me. I mean, I do it for everything anyway. So that could just be a me thing. Marching band. I'm trying to think. Band is finger spelled. Band is finger spelled, for
Wait,
every.
do y'all have a band?
Technically, it's the blind school's band. Since our school, we can't hear it.
No stupid questions,
I
is
know,
what I'm saying.
I know. I was being silly and teasing. But yes, we do have an actual band. It's our blind students. They participate with a band for our school. Because we also have cheerleaders, which I know we forgot the sign for that. For cheerleaders, it's literally cheerleaders. Cheerleaders. For gymnast. I have to think. Sorry, I'm thinking of how I would fingerspell and describe that. We were just recently talking about this with the Olympics and all the different types of sports and things like that because we were like going through the list and it was a lot of fingerspelling because they're very specific. But I think I would probably just fingerspell gymnastics. Gymnast. I feel like that one's kind of an up to you. If you want to add the person to gymnast, you can. But since gymnast with the NAST there does mean a person, I would not want to be the one to add the person there. I think I would just fingerspell she gymnast or whatever. I know I'm wiggling my fingers a lot. I need to slow it down. I think I would just leave it at that. But you are more than welcome to add person. There's nothing wrong with not adding a person or adding a person. It's just kind of how specific do you want to be and how clear do you want to make sure your thing gets a point across? Because sometimes if I'm talking about like football players, like I may even just say football play, like what they're doing. Like he plays football. Um, you could still add like officially player is player. But sometimes you don't always have to add that person if you already are in like a specific kind of conversation where it's already known if you're going to talk about that, it's going to be a person, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. So good question. So if someone's a sports commentator, what you're going to do is you're literally going to add sports and then the sign for comment. So comment and then person. Okay. So the sign for comment, this is not comment. Sorry. That was me breaking up the word again. I do that every time. If you see me doing this is me chunking the word to tell you what we're about to sign. You're not the first one and you are not the last person who's going to do that. I constantly always, because that's me visually like chunking the word. So the sign for comment is going to be, basically it's going to be eights again. And you're going to go comment. This is message, mention, not really mention, but like, no, I guess it's just comment. Comment. So commentator. So sports commentator. Okay. That may need a little bit of explanation. So like just saying like they talk about sports, that sort of thing. Reason why is because it could be like, well, he comments about sports on Facebook. He may not be an actual announcer kind of deal or commentator. It could be a little bit, but they may ask for clarification. It just say like they talk. Talk is talk, which is four fingers and it's literally talk. Talk. Talk sports. You can just say talk sports and they should get that. A sports fan. Um, Typically there are two ways you can do it. Fingerspell fan, F-A-N, because it's short. So sports fan. Oh, that's a girl. You're just thinking of all of them. I'm like add. I'm like I'm here for it. Yes, but I love them. Like oh, there's another one. Oh, another one. You can add fan, just F-A-N, like baseball fan, Or you can do the sign for favorite and add that there. So the sign for favorite is going to be your middle finger, like our eight again, but not. And you're going to tap your chin. Favorite. 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 I typically, because I'm more of a baseball fan, so I always go baseball favorite. Baseball favorite. So that's how you can say like you're being a sports fan. Um, Even a team fan, like there's Alabama versus Auburn. It's literally just AL, Alabama, ALA. And that's for the state and for when talking about football, like talking about Alabama football. It kind of is both because we don't really say University of Alabama or Alabama University. University of Alabama. No, I didn't go there. Yes, UA. That's right. I had to think for a minute. So we don't typically call it that. We call it Alabama. And then for Auburn, it's AU. 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 So, like favorite team, like I'm a fan of Auburn. I'm a fan of Alabama. You would just do favorite. Auburn, favorite. Alabama, favorite. And then for like the rest of them, it's more like you do have to finish by like LSU, Tennessee, TEN, that sort of thing. Just the finger spelling again kind of comes into play. Okay, referee. Add this because I feel like we forget this one a lot with it too. Referee is literally referee. It's like you're holding a whistle. Referee, 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 referee. So, okay. Any final sports? Football. Football. So football referee. Football referee. And that one you don't really need to add a person to, like referee, because it is just a person itself. So just leave that referee. Okay. All right. Let's now actually move on to some of our weather signs since we are soon out of time. I want to get onto a little bit of them, and just kind of touch base on a few of those. So the first sign we're going to do is the sign for weather, and the sign for weather is going to be two W's. You're going to bring them together and go weather, weather. So very similar to our sports sign, if you remember, weather, sports. So weather. Okay. So the first sign we're going to do is the sign for sun/sunny. It is the same thing. And so what you're going to do is you're going to start with your dominant hand kind of flat like this, pointing out, and then you're going to turn it towards you and then shine. Sun, sun, sun. Okay. And this one, very visual of this is the sun. Like I know it's a flat O, but it's still kind of that's the sun shape. And then this is the rays of the sun coming onto you. Sun. Okay, so if it's sunny outside, you see the sun, it's sun. Typically with sunny, what I'll see is people will do sun and then they'll bounce it like this, like it's sunny outside. And it's like the rays just keep hitting you, kind of deal. All right. The next one we have is rain. So the sign for rain is going to be two fives. You're going to start at the top right here, and then you're going to go rain, 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 rain. Now, the really fun thing with these signs and these weather signs is the more dramatic you get with them, the more you can help show the intensity of it. Okay? That's why, like when I said with the sun, like when it's sunny, like it's really like the sun is beaming out there, like it's hot. You can literally go sun, and you can pretend like facial expression of showing like I'm sweating, I'm dying out there. That's kind of how you get those kind of comments up to stand out with it. And then same thing for rain is if it's like this is like just your it's raining outside, it's raining, versus it's downpour, it's going fast, woo, like it is nonstop. It's not dot 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 dot. It is straight lines raining. And even adding that like side when it gets really bad and the rain's not coming straight down, it's literally coming at that angle, like you're about to have to dig through the rain. So. So, very fun with weather signs. All right. The next one we're going to do is the sign for snow. Okay. I know we don't get it often, but it's still a cute sign. Okay. So, the sign for snow is you're going to still have those fives again, But this time you're going to wiggle your fingers and go back and forth because snow falls so gracefully. It does not fall straight down. It just flutters in the wind, all sweet and soft. It's the same thing how in Alabama we say you can't say the S word because then everybody freaks out. You cannot show the sign for snow at school where everyone freaks out and they're all going to the window, especially on that crazy day when we all had snow for some reason and it was raining that day and then the tornado the next night. It's a whole chaos. That was fun with those kids because all I saw all day was, it's snow, it's snow, it's snow, it's snow. And they're like glued to the window. Imagine trying to get 30 kids away from the window from staring out in the cafeteria. It doesn't work. They all were excited about it. So, snow. All right. The next one is the sign for tornado. So the sign for tornado, there are two ways you can sign it, okay? The first one is one I see more often here. So you have your non-dominant palm up. Your dominant is going to be in this bent shape, almost like when we're doing our thousands, okay? And then you're going to bring it and go bouncing it. Tornado, tornado. And the visual is like this is like your ground, and this is it touching and then spiraling out. Tornado, tornado, tornado. Okay, tornado. The other one I've seen is with two pointer fingers. You start kind of up, one down, one up, and then you go tornado, 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 like the spirals, tornado, tornado, tornado. Okay. Like I said, I do see this one more. This one is a more bit Alabama sign for sure, I think. I've seen this a few times when going to Tennessee. So that one's more of a regional, can be a bit more of a regional sign, which I know we have not talked about. I just realized that. We will talk about that next week. I promise. I will explain what I meant by when I just said that because I said it so matter of factly. And I want to give y'all some weather signs. We will talk on that next week. Okay. The next one is going to be flood. So when you're talking about flooding, typically what you're going to do is the sign for water, which the sign for water is a W, and your pointer finger is going to tap the corner of your mouth. Water, water. This is for any type of water. Water to drink, body of water. There are a few ways you can add more to it, like oceans and things like that to explain, but this is all water, okay? So for water, like flooding, what you do is you do water, and then you're gonna start with your hands. Jeez Louise. Both I wanted to say non-dominant, dominant. It was flipping me off. So you start here, and then you rise it up. So water, you're bringing it up. Water. So the water's rising. That's what you say for flood. Water, flood. Okay. The next one we're going to do is, I know we don't see this often, but we do see effects related to this, so I do think it is still important to see this one. It's the sign for hurricane, okay? So I'm going to show you this one. We got to be a little patient with because it is a bit awkward to show at first. So you're going to have your threes, put your two fingers together. Your dominant hand is going to turn upside down like this. You're going to have your thumbs touch and then you're going to bounce both your two fingers on each hand. Hurricane, hurricane. So the reason for this is because if you were to bring it down and you were to look at it in a perfect angle, it looks like the shape of a hurricane on a map. Hurricane. I feel like some people see it and some are like, nah, you crazy. But if you look at a map and you visualize it, like your thumbs together with your fingers bent is the circular motion, while your two fingers sticking out is the curves on each side. Hurricane. I don't know. I thought that was like really cool when I realized that like it's hard to show. Hurricane. I don't know. I thought that was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, it is. So just think about that when you're thinking about a hurricane. All right. So now we're gonna go on to the next one we have is a sign for serious, meaning with like being also like being bad, like this is bad weather, like it's serious weather. Because typically for like a storm, we don't say is I don't see much of like there's not really a sign I've seen for storm as much as I've seen bad weather for the sign for storm. Or like it's serious, like, whew, this is bad. And so the sign for serious is a pointer finger. You start it kind of pointing with your hand out like this and you turn it. Serious, serious. And you kind of do kind of tense up a bit because it is serious. It's not just a little like, serious. It's like, this is serious, serious. Okay, serious. And I just realized lightning, thunder were all down on my list. I don't know why we went to serious when thunder and lightning we see way more often. So my bad on that. My list got it had it lowered down, so I totally overlooked it. The sign for lightning, okay? Non-dominant palm across like this. Your dominant's gonna be in that pointer finger. Your dominant's gonna be here, touching your base of your palm, and then you're gonna zigzag. Lightning, 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 lightning. Is it lightning? Lightning, lightning. Okay. And I have seen some people use when they're describing like, oh, it just keeps lightning when we've had those really crazy nights of weather where it just won't stop lightning, where it's and it just shows like it's repeatedly going on. Lightning. Okay. The sign for thunder, all right, is you're going to literally point to your ear, and then you're going to have your two hands in fives, and then they're going to move into S's. Thunder. Thunder. This is also like kind of the sign for like the ground shaking, movement, that kind of feeling, vibration sort of deal. So thunder, thunder, thunder. Okay. Thunder. I love to also use this one when talking about. I have this one kid who sneezes very loud. I think I've talked about this, maybe even not. And every time she does, I literally look at her and go, "Whoo, the world shook with you." And she always rolls her eyes like, "Stop." I'm like, "Well, you sneeze loud, child." But so yeah, so thunder, thunder. Okay. All right. The last two I'm going to give you, and then I'll leave it up. I know we didn't review, but I'll leave it back for you to ask specific ones you want to review again, is bad and good. Okay. So the sign for bad, we're going to start with that one, is you're going to have your non-dominant palm up. Your dominant is on your mouth like this, and then you're going to turn it and slap and clap, really. Bad, bad. Okay. Bad. All right. And then if you remember good, which I think we did do these when we talked about good morning. Good is your palm is here and you just leave it up. Good. Okay. Good. So I think about with this to help remember which one's which is good is something we want to continue. We want to keep up. You don't want to change it. You want it to stay that way. And so with good, you don't want to change your hand because we want to keep it that way. Versus bad, we do want to change it. And so we change the sign. Bad. That's not the actual reasoning of it. That's a Gillian connection that can help, may not. That's okay. So good, we keep it the same. Bad, we flip. All right. Okay. I know we didn't get into any of our real big emergency signs just yet. We can always go back to those next week. But are there any signs you guys are curious of with weather, emergencies, anything like that that you would like to see before we finish? Let's see, I'm trying to make sure we got through all our list of everybody. I know we didn't. I know we didn't do all the ones you said, Miss Katie, at the top. You added it in the chat, and we still didn't get to those. Let's see. Okay, like and don't like we'll definitely need to do next week for sure. All right. I'm trying to think if there's any not sports, weather signs. I'm trying to think of that we can look at. I know we talked about this last week. We talked about help. Help. We'll just kind of stay on this one for a bit because this one's an easy one to discuss. Help is directional, which means the sign itself has a direction and it applies, that makes the sentence basically. So if you're trying to ask someone, can I help you? You don't have to go, help me, can. You do not have to do that. You can, it's still accurate, it's still correct. But another way you can do, can I help you? Is you do the sign for help close to you like this, and then you bring it towards the person. Help. And so it's the visual of you're asking me, I'm asking to help you. I'm going to give you the help you. Okay. And then vice versa goes for if you need help, You can have it away from you to whoever you're asking and bring it towards you. Help me. Help me. And again, if you forget that and you just go, help me, still would work and still would make sense. This is just a more ASL way of it where you don't have to sign every individual word. You just go, help me, help me. Um, and if you're saying you are going to help everyone, you would literally start here and just go in a circular motion, help everyone, help everyone. Kind of do, or we all help each other, that sort of thing. Help everyone. Okay. And then the last thing, last one with this, again, not going much more, is if you're talking about you need to help her. And I'm not involved with the helping, but you better help each other out. You can literally go from help, help. So you help her. And if you wanted them to say you need to help each other, you could just go, you help, you help. I would do like a tap. So like help, you help to show like it's two different comments. Because sometimes people you just gotta say you gotta help each other out. You help her, help him, that sort of thing. Or that, yeah. So, okay, I know we're out of time. We'll leave some of our what we'll try to do is because there's a few emergency signs for next class in the beginning, and then I think we should just go ahead and start with our food signs as well.
Yeah, I agree. Because if we start out with some of the helping signs, we can also do allergy and like, do you need a doctor? Stuff like that. And
Yes.
then do food, and then we'll do animals the next time, and we'll cover allergies again.
Yes. It's very important, especially if you're in an emergency situation. So, all right, that sounds good. So we'll do that next week. Um, if you guys do ever think of any questions throughout the week that you're curious of, you can either hold it for next week or you can already go ahead and email Miss Katie, and she can
Hmm.
do it. I say that because I'm someone who would need to do that. I would forget my I question in a week. I'm not, I need to like get it
Or
out of
if
my
you think of
system.
any sports or, anything comes up,
Yes.
let me
So,
know.
yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week, and I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Bye, guys.